Monty Institute.
Yes, sir.
We're being hosted by our brother Marcus Klein, editor of the Frontline magazine. We're located at 1724 East 79th Street, across from the Regal Theater. And we're having a little get-together for a little while on some things about dealing with the intelligence community. I put the chairs real close because, just from a perspective, I believe Chicago is scared to get close right now. We're a little bit far away from each other. Therefore, the enemies have been able to get in between us. So we're going to start this month and on into next month and on into August and then in September. By the time the Million Youth March comes down, there will be 1,000 men in Chicago that could be produced in an hour's notice. That anyone who did whatever it was that went down in Cabrini Green over these last couple of nights, in terms of the police going in there and yanking people out of their places without retaliation, it would be the last time it'll ever happen. And I don't care who is an informant, I don't care who you tell. Part of the reason why I'm going to re-enter Michael Collins into the record is that I am warning to give an official notice. As a matter of fact, when we were here last Wednesday, I was on my way to give lectures in Detroit last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, which I did, standing room only. Brother Marcus is from Detroit. I was lecturing 1 block from his father's house. And last Wednesday, before I left here, I only told the people who were in the room that Tony Brown, who today on the cable show we gave Negro of the Month Award to, Pathological Liar Hall of Fame, he was inducted, that I was going to jump on Tony Brown on a radio show in L.A. the next morning, the KJLA show. We left out of here at midnight, 5 to 12, we left out of here on Wednesday. The radio show is only 7 hours from the moment that we left out of here. Tony Brown, who had bought commercials, he was appearing in L.A. last weekend. He bought commercials, he had sent the bios, he had sent the books to the station to give away as part of a contest. But he called up the station on the morning of the show and said that I understand that Steve Coakley is going to attack me or confront me on the radio show, and I am not coming on. But I didn't tell nobody but the people in the room here today. So since I know we got such clarity and the vessels are open up so strong, I'm going to put some shit on the wire. See, if the fucking wire's live, then fuck, I'll put some shit on the wire. I showed Brother Marcus my phone bill today. It's over $700. They won't cut my phone off. I ain't paid the phone bill in 3 months. They won't cut it off. I don't know why. I guess maybe it's a good conversation. I don't know. But one of the advantages of phone cards, and I'm not into phone cards, I ain't into shit really, I don't have nothing to hide, is that kind of in-your-face thing. See, unless it's like what you see right here, then they'll never get the message. Now, it's all right. You know, it's a lot of Negroes in Chicago, they like to be in code and shit. They like to do slick and sneaky stuff. What you need, brother?
FX for a minute while I set some up.
They always, we ain't got no sneak operation. We're straight up the arrow. To get us, you'll have to come and get us, and to get you, we deliver. We come right to you. So I'm going to show you what it's like when we go heads up. You're now in front of the Equitable Building, which is right next to Rockefeller Center. The Time Warner Black History Month lecture series is in the Equitable Auditorium because it's got this big, plush, executive auditorium with big old doors and huge felt chairs. And this is where Time Warner, who's in Rockefeller Center, has their annual program, for which I was told I couldn't be a part of. So Dick Gregory, Al Sharpton, Lil Allende from Chicago, and all the others were being allowed to be there. So we decide that we ain't taking the money. We're going on in there and fight Time Warner. And even though they paid us not to show up, we showed up anyway. And this is what it came down to be like. Then I'm going to go back and re-enter into the tape. I need to put into the tape that Michael Collins piece. When I put the Michael Collins piece in that I had showed earlier, we will collect the donation. From all matters. We're out in front of London. We're right in the center of New York. Now, when the hunky don't like to take an ass whipping in the public, so we're right in the center of New York. Clinton's in back speaking right next door. They got tanks on the street. They got helicopters flying over us. They got hundreds of police all around us. Not one newspaper, not one TV camera, not nothing. It didn't appear in shit. Didn't even appear in the black press. Because the shit we do is unprintable. No moment of it. How many moments of it? No more. You could even show a second of it and make it come out right in behalf of the whites. So whites do white out. They whited it out. But they didn't need to do it. It was our job to teach our own people what it does. But we know the humpy will never do it. So when you see people all over everything, all the time, protests being blared, radiated by the hunky, you know, I want you to know that the hunky means to promote it because it'll do him no harm. When it's shit really hot and you feel the pressure, white out that shit. You better not touch it. The great debate, we did a great debate in L.A. with no stories. Every paper was there, they didn't touch it. There was no way you could say about it without messing up the white side. So they chose to do it not at all, and that's all right for us. We ain't into the reading. We into doing it. Well, tonight, on that night, the niggas belong to me. Right up to the last moment. What I'm telling Al Sharpton is that Conrad Mohammed, who was the minister of the Nation of Islam in New York, was around the corner from my hotel in Manhattan, telling me that he had Sylvia Rohn in a limousine, who was the woman who was in charge of the Black History Month program, and they wanted me to come down and call off the protests. They would give me $50,000 to the person of my choice, since they knew I didn't want the money in my name, if I would call off what you're about to see right now. So I'm just leaving my hotel with my security, and I'm telling Al Sharpton and Maddox, who got there before I did, that Conrad Mohammed had called me, and he had the total undermine of our program on the table. And I'm now telling them, and the camera's right there up underneath us, some of the crazy shit he told me about what they would give me if I just called off the protest. And part of the, you'll see on the cable show, is that I warned the Nation of Islam not to do like what I see in that Million Youth March copy issue. Brother, you got a cover of it? Yeah, the current issue, the final call. That I would never want to see them undermining another black organization, individual, or activity on behalf of the white man. I know the white man don't want to see the Million Youth March in New York with Khallid Mohammed and Sharpton and Copley and some of these other outlawed people. But to get in the final call and advocate on behalf of the hunkies that it will be dangerous if we don't have permits, there's no dilemma no black man should ever be bringing forth in the public. This story right here. And when you all showed me this story last Wednesday, and I looked at it right during the lecture and I went off. But what was even worse was this. This was worse than the story. Not only did they elevate the march in Atlanta and advocate 2 marches, the march in Atlanta is a straight undermine CIA government-inspired project, and all I'm concerned about is if I know it's the CIA, let me just step back and see who touches it in their behalf. Who shows up? The final call. Now, some of you all be scared to say some shit like that, but I'm so sure I know the government inspired this little undermining shit in this newspaper that in every fucking city, I ran the brothers off the corner in Hyde Park yesterday, there will not even be a place they can take no trash like this and undermine anything African. I'm not tolerating 1 ounce of undermining on their behalf or anyone else's, whether it be soul vegetarian, Nation of Islam. I wouldn't give a fuck who it is. If you do some shit that will on the surface will benefit the hunky, then you will pay the hunky price. Now some of you all ain't that into it. Some of you all ain't never done nothing so deep for black people that you felt being undermined or fronted in the public to the hunky would put you in jeopardy. But on the anniversary, on the day Brother Khallid got shot, you ain't gonna come out with no shit like this and get away with it. Guidance and warning to the march organizers in New York and Miami. But when you read the story, there is no strike for New York and Atlanta. There is no negative comment made to Atlanta, but there is a huge negative dialogue made to New York like this. While the mayor and city officials in Atlanta seem to be acceptable to the Million Youth Movement, which is an integrationist, multi-ethnic voters registration, honky finance, Negro-led protest. It says, while the officials in Atlanta seem to be acceptable to the Million Youth Movement, this is more than likely not the case in New York. Talking about the thing we got going on. Therefore, I would advise the organizers of the march in New York to make sure that you have dotted all the legal I's and crossed all the legal T's, for you do not wish to give Mayor Giuliani and some racist New York police an opportunity to exercise their hatred against our youth. It's not working. The only problem is this. Don't you be out on behalf of a hunky asking for legal nothing. The legality of... And what the fuck is this permit thing anyway? Hey, honky, tomorrow on Saturday from 8 to 11, I'll be gone before sundown. I'm going to be out on the street. Will you permit me to do this? Nah, we don't want that kind of protest. But you know what, the minister? You even fucked up. They didn't have the permits 4 months. That's why we in Harlem from 110th to 140th, because that we control. We were going to be in Central Park, which if we decide to go there when we get through on Malcolm X Boulevard, we can do that. It ain't but 5 blocks away, but that'll be our choice. But whether we had the permit or not, don't be out on behalf of Don't be out on behalf. And then when I thought about it, I remember how you undermined the protests in Philadelphia when the black family got beat up in Graves Ferry. And your man, Rodney Muhammad, called for the 5 million man response to stand up, and you made him sit down and cut a deal and walked up there with that honky bitch Mayor Rendell, white man of the Jewish religion, and tried to cool out the protest, which ended up a 500-man march instead of the 5,000-man march, because you usurped it. So I warn you as a master usurper, step on this shit, you will pay the price. And that's why we're taking it to you. We wouldn't want you to miss 1 ounce of the angle. We're taking it the fuck to you. And then, after I get through showing you Time Warner, where they tried to undermine that, while we fighting the honky, they undermining the program. After I show you that, I'm going to show you Michael Collins again. And I guess I got him too close. I'll show you Michael Collins again to let you know what the circumstances are of being a punk on behalf of the honky. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you made a mistake, but fuck around and play this shit and somebody gets shot again. I guarantee you the blood will flow from city to city. You best go get your guns. Because that's the only way we play it. We don't play no... And if I ever hear you beat another black man and get on Meet the Press and say you'll never touch the white man, we'll crush you. Now, we'll take that. We'll get all these messages right out into the public, because there will be no second guessing on this. I talked to Brother Khallid for 3 hours Saturday in Detroit before my phones went straight dead. I mean dead for 5 hours. I couldn't even call the lobby. I moved my whole operation to the hallway of the Lake Pontchartrain Hotel, Clown Plaza, Pritzker family, Hyatt Regency in Detroit, where we had packed them in for 3 straight nights trying to bust up the casino thing that Dennis Archer bring into Detroit. So, and I'm telling you, we got straight up black mafia. This ain't no game. We fight to kill. That's why we show killer moments, because we don't want nobody to get in the game and think there's some civil rights struggle.
It'll be clear.
It's as clear as it can be, brother. Okay. Jimmy Castor did Bertha Butt that years ago. Hey, Bertha Butt, that old song. He was one of the speakers. He was supposed to speak with me. Al Sharpton, Mark Maddox, who's on trial in New York now against Pagonis on the Juana Brawler case.
to the foot of one of the largest corporate giants in the world. We appreciate the fact that you felt it was important for you to be here. And tonight, and last night, and a week from tonight, and 3 weeks ago, we, all of us, appreciate humbly all of the things that you have done to insulate and support and to stand for our right to speak. Though my name and the Minister Conrad's name and Reverend Sharpton's name were mentioned as people who are unacceptable, really, it was bigger than the three of us. And you need to know that there were many times prior to this that any three of us, against all of us, could have took a position that would have sacrificed someone else's right to speak at a later date. Time Warner was as late as 6:20 trying to have this event cut off. The message from Sylvia Rome was that this is not in the interest of the corporation, so I want to thank you for assuring of that. For us, it is the beginning of a larger journey. That's right. That's right. Whether it be Time Warner, a Boeing, a Rockefeller Center, injustice from any of them is intolerable, and techniques and mechanisms and forces assembled to respond to it are merging. The fact that we ended up right here by the president meant that we were under deep scrutiny. Right? Yeah. Not tonight, but last night. Yeah. Right? The night before last. Right. Isn't it strange? There's not one TV station here. We didn't call them, but don't think they don't know. Well, they know. Isn't it strange that none of them chose to write anything about, and God bless the black press. God bless the black press in New York. It wasn't all correct, but it was. Right? And at least a point of observation allows for a later thing called clarity. And together, these brothers and sisters, and many of those who aren't here tonight, have done the best they could to manage this issue on behalf of all of us. It is initially my responsibility to say a small word to you, and there's several other people who will speak, but primarily we're trying to come up with a focus about where should we go from here. They are uncomfortable with this form of pressure, and this form of pressure is cancerous. Los Angeles is on edge, wanting to know what to do. Warner Film is all over Los Angeles. Time Warner is the largest single owner of real estate in the state of Texas. Right. I bet you didn't know that. But what can Africans in Texas do to help us, knowing they got the biggest real estate? So it's incumbent upon us to know as best we can exactly who we got, and that's what's in those tapes at the slave, is the attempt to try to describe the best we can what kind of whale we got on this hook. Whales don't usually bite such little fish. But we're post-Million Man March. And that represents great gain and great danger. And in a climate of rapid change, we have to be careful that we don't get forced into doing things without deliberation. And so, all of you are most greatly appreciated for having come here today. I believe, as you can get a feel of over the last couple of days, that we must be onto something. I don't know what exactly it is, but we up onto something. Something's up. Something is up. And little by little, whether it's been an article suppressed at the Daily Challenge, or whether it been a slightly twisted view in another paper, or whether it was the absence of something, of someone being cut off on the radio, this has brought serious pus out of our system. In fact, this ought to be called Operation Golden Seal. Golden Seal. Golden Seal sucks the pus out of what is ailing us. And since we're a holistic people, maybe we might adopt that as what this operation should be called. As we go forward to try to do the best we can to protect the rights of the children. Time Warner, as a communication company, has an impact in cartoons and many other things that relay symbols and images to our children. And if you decide you yourself want to take a chance against injustice, think about your children. And I ask for my children to have a right to see their father live to an old age and be there for them. And I didn't want my life to be compromised, trying to sacrifice my time and efforts to help black people. And so I appreciate you. And one thing, Time Warner ought to learn about this. That, in fact, I watched them on TV today. They was talking about, they was doing Black History Month reflection, and it was about the Underground Railroad. Yeah. And I said, boy, is that not apropos to tell our people that it wasn't long ago that we faced a similar circumstance. Right. And we developed a means of escape, and it was a clandestine operation. Right. Part of what will succeed in the 90s against operations like this is the fact that we are far more mature than we were in the past. Well, I have a mouth about what we would do and how we would do it at a premature state. So if we are listening to what we're talking about, and you might not feel that ultimate insight that you know exactly what it is, know that it is. Clarity is something that we all need to counsel on. So many things that happen, we haven't had the chance to have the ultimate counsel we need to bring in the appropriate amount of people to begin the process to make a group consensus about what we've done. So we've not made final decisions to save that for all of us. And you need to understand that. So don't plague anyone about what you don't hear. It's all. All right. And that's something you got to have very deep in your heart. Right? You got to know that. And that's something that we've learned. And then it talked about in the Underground Railroad that it brought about something called the Fugitive Slave Act. The Fugitive Slave Act was to punish anyone who was caught helping or escaping slaves. Right? See, it wasn't just that the slave was what you were after. You were after busting down cooperation and support. Right? So you must always be counsel or protecting those who aided and abetted this step forward because they are as much in jeopardy as the principals. Check? That's why I have to be three little people. Faceless, nameless people that everybody respects. If it be them, it be all of us. Right? And so we got to bring something right about pulling all this ugliness out of us, and I think we're really on to something. And so we just got to have all power and strength in regards to that. As a brother, I'm humbled by all of you. I've touched many of you on a deeper level. Some of you have looked me right in my eye, and I've seen something in you I know you've held quietly for a long time, right? So we just know that that's something we're working on, and that's the ultimate. That's what they see and know about us when sometimes we get rational and refuse to know about ourselves. Right? So we all that deep, you know. And remember, the Gov't was the move, right? The Gov't was the move, and that move was that whenever in doubt, always go straight to it. So tonight I would have done what I would have done any other time, talked about those secret societies and those institutions and those organizations like we talked about Tuesday night. And please support the United Movement and buy that tape and buy that audio tape and spread the word and the information in the tape because we need to support the United African Movement. And we need to do that. Right. And I appreciate them most. Right. And Brother Eric Mohammed of the Black Holocaust Council, I hear him, that's right. And that's something we all got to do is come for each other. We're going to hear from Brother McIntosh now, and he has over the last couple of days tried to get his word into the public, and he's felt that over where he was, there appeared to be censorship. Also, I'm going to be on a radio show, I think, a Sunday night at 9 o'clock, the one I wasn't on last week. I may be on that this Sunday night at 9 o'clock, so y'all tune in on that. We'll have some updated word as well. 97.1. No, it's not 97. Well, Dr. Matt. All right, let's hear from Brother Steve Copeland. And that's what this is. Only what controversy does. I learned something that I wouldn't have learned if this hadn't happened. All right. Chances are, I don't mean any offense, folks, but I wouldn't have been here tonight if they had to close it down. I wouldn't have been here tonight if they hadn't just said they were having a lecture and Steve Copeland was going to be here. I never heard the brother speak. I heard the brother speak, and he started talking. to hear it. The fact that the people that own this big, expensive building, the fact that people that own, I mean, Murdoch is a billionaire himself. The fact that the man can reach every continent in the world. And they were afraid for a little tiny audience. They hear this brother here? Yeah, I'm going to buy Copley tape. Copley videotape. Copley book. Copley article. All I want to read about is Copley now. I don't want to feel there was a defeat. There was no defeat. But I see Asante and many others have taught us. For us, brothers and sisters, the victory is in the struggle. The victory is in resistance. I mean, we're not supposed to be here. They brought us over in boats. They packed us in like sardines. They had a debate, Professor Clark said, for 100 years over the tight pack or the loose pack. On the slave boats. It's not funny. Yes, Lord. You suffered on those boats. Our ancestors, they were in positions where they couldn't lie flat down and they couldn't sit all the way up. They had to lie in their own excrement and they had to lie in the excrement of others. And the only thing that kept them from taking the easy way out and committing suicide was that they knew the day would come when you would be here. They knew that the day would come when Brother Copley was going to figure it out. They knew that the day was going to come when we were going to have a spokesman like Reverend Al, who was going to be able to take it and put it all together and make it so plain a fool could understand it. And he was going to get into the bowels of this building and he was going to get to our brothers and sisters whose minds were totally messed up. Those executives who heard Reverend Al last week, they're never going to be the...
What that is about street pressure. That's part of what I was trying to make clear. And I think it was maybe 3 months after that, General Levin, the chairman of Time Warner's son, was found murdered. I didn't do it. Nobody I knew did it. But we know they picked up this black man and they say he did it. Said first he robbed the ATM. But we did get an attorney to help the brother out when we drew down that picture of the ATM. The guy who they said took the money out the ATM, who did the killing, which they said was the young man. It wasn't him at the ATM, it was someone else, somebody else. So I don't know who that was. Like that boy has never been even convicted of the crime yet. But it just leads to the fact that they're Catholics. A couple of days after that, we stood in Penn Station in New York and waited for that time at 4:57 every day when Gerald Foxman of the ADL gets out of the car that drives into Penn Station and he comes down the northwest stairway next to the post office and comes down to get on his Long Island train. And we just stepped up on him and touched him and said, Gerald Levin, Steve Copley, if today we wanted you, we'd have had you. And let him go. I mean, man, through the train station on down to the train number 9 that he gets on. But we knew what time he comes through there, the same time every day. I ain't had one Jewish problem since the day we touched Abraham Foxman. Touched him, right on his arm, touched him. Oh, I didn't have to tell him who I was. When he looked up and saw me and I had his arm, and I just let it go because it didn't squeeze. I didn't want to say I squeezed it. He said, today, if we had wanted you, we'd have had you. And I pointed right in his heart, and that was like he could just feel my finger going through his chest. But if we had wanted him, we'd have took him. I'm sorry I be stepping on y'all. But this is very important. And I make this clear now to all of those others who at this critical stage find themselves choosing to be an impediment to progress. Because remember, the day they get through with you, they'll throw your name back to us and tip us about the things you did, because they may not want to pay you the bonus they promised you. Remember, they gave William O'Neill only $300 for making sure that Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were doped up with Seconal and that they would be assassinated and shot 21 times. Gave $300 bonus. $300 bonus. You know, you see what it's worth. See what it's worth to them, but that's all right. Now, Just for the record. Again, last week, I think I did I put it back in the record, that little opening in the great debate? I was trying to, okay, I got to shoot a little piece back into the record, but when I had that great debate in L.A., and I had done that Crossfire program, I've been here before, when I showed a program of myself on Crossfire, with Pat Buchanan and some more people. How many of you all have seen this Crossfire program? Well, anyway, the point of it is that on this show I fight, you know, it's supposed to be 2 and 2. It was actually 1 against 3. And I still had them outnumbered. Hand-to-hand combat, fighting. How is Coakley when the hunkies come? Well, it was most interesting. Some hunkies moved out of this city when I was being fired 10 years ago last month, when they heard their names in the tape, because they felt they were fingered, and all the black people all knew everything that was in the tape. Everybody didn't, but they felt surrounded, so that where we don't always have people, we have to draw a scenario that the other side feels that we have so many people, so many places, so many spots, that there's no place they can't go without eating away in their system, that we're on the hunt, hunting them down for crimes committed against African people. So when I get to the debate, and I see my enemies in the audience, on the stage, in the back, out front, one by one I start attacking them before I go to deal with the prey. The prey is on the stage, a surrogate of the hunky. I don't even give him the pleasure of mentioning his name. I call his daddies out. But before I go and shoot the sheriff, I shoot all the deputies. I just start shooting them down. Earl Rubin, he's hollering, yeah, I kicked your ass, didn't I? You know, when we was on Crossfire together, I kicked your ass. And I reminded the audience that he was an FBI informant, right on the same page with Julius Butler, and that he was in Riverside the day Khallid Muhammad was shot. By putting them 3 pieces on him, he was sealed for the rest of the night. He didn't open his mouth. But I had the plan to deal with who would show up, or the ones that we were after. So I say that to those who show up, Million Youth March or otherwise, on behalf of the ones we're after, we got something for you. Don't think before we stepped up we ain't considered that you would show up. It's all a part of the game. We're good at the game. We survived being sold out by you several times, so there's nothing new there. Anyway, rewinding this tape, because before this tape is over, I'm going to rehook in this little part about Michael Collins. Now, some of you all were here when I showed it the first time, but the principle is, what is the strategy to deal with informants or people who choose to undermine the program? And here's Michael Collins infiltrating the police secret headquarters because a man who was watching him decided that he wanted to be his friend. All the movie, you see the guy leaning behind the pole hiding as Michael Collins gives his speeches. Well, here he is now. Let them in the secret room where all the spy files are. He lets them in there and leaves them in there on his own. Lets them look at the depth of the intelligence community. The movie is Michael Collins with Ian Nissen. It's about the Irish Republican Army fighting the English in the early 1900s. This was at the same period that was coming with the Federal Reserve Bank. Same period when they broke down the oil companies and started making Exxon, Mobil, where it's actually Standard Oil New Jersey, Standard Oil Indiana, Standard Oil California, etc. It's the same period that the Brookings Institute passed the legislation that gave America its first budget in 1914. America never had a budget until 1914. From 1776 to 1914, there was no such thing as a balanced budget or an over budget. There was never even a budget. And the first budget director for 26 years worked out of the Brookings Institute, though he was a government employee. Just like the State Department got created out of a CFR study group, Council on Foreign Relations study group, went right into the State Department, 39 of them. Just left one building, went into another, and were deputized. Okay, I want you to hear, once Michael Collins has seen the secret files, he comes back to tell his friends, I want you to hear what he tells his friends they must do to even the score.
Could you handle it? That's the lady who can handle anything. Come on.
Jesus Christ, where the hell have you been?
You're a walking.
What he wear?
I want to fight round up with a few members of the British administration. Look over the...
I want to follow every man in the British administration.
Committee columns. I want names, addresses, troops, ready bank, down to what they eat for breakfast. Keep it up to date. I'm told every week. Tom. Tom. Yeah. Get me a list of the 12 best men in the Dublin division, young, without families. Listen, 12 apostles. Just do it, will you, for fuck's sake, with Joe?
Give me 12 men in the Dublin division, young and without families, who are led in a volunteer assassination. Why chosen? Because they got the least of you. Lose.
You have been warned. Signed, the Irish Republican Army.
Oh.
Are you serious? Read so.
I'm sorry, I talked over the warning. This is the letter he wanted written to them. It's a very important letter. These letters are going out in Chicago.
Mr. Tom, this is to inform you that any further collaboration with the forces of occupation will be punishable by death. You have been warned. Signed, the Irish Republican Army. Are you serious? Read so. Someone's for everything, man. Better look at their files. They know more about us than we do. Go ahead. Look, that's us.
Said they know more about us than we
Look
do.
at these. You know how they thrive, don't you? In farms. But I'm down the police with no system. They couldn't move. Now imagine Dublin with a castle like an enclave for anyone, and I mean anyone who collaborated to be shot. They wouldn't be able to move outside those fucking walls. That's how serious I am. There's only one problem. What's that? We'd have to do it. Yes.
Get to that point where bullshit talking and shit talking, signifying and shit is where it's in the real world. Mother said, we better fuck Kennedy up. Said, nah, let's wait till after he gets reelected. Said, we wait till he gets reelected. Said, it won't be until Harold Rossner becomes mayor that we'll kill somebody after they get reelected. It's not good waiting till they get people control of the military. We better kill Kennedy now.
You're going to. It's a joke. No finger good if somebody threatens me.
Now the G-men, they got the letters. They're mad. Well, we get these letters. Who are they to threaten? We do the threatening around here.
Here's one. Cool.
So let's jack somebody up so we ain't gonna take no shit. See, they know what their job is. We do the threatening around here.
That means you can get out at night. What? Give up our jobs. And yourself. Oh, no, come on. Watch this, the music hallway. You're the only one that make music here, like. Torch on him. Come on. Yeah? Put a hand on Grace. Ed?
told them they got word from their inside man and the police are coming to get y'all. So now they got their already their cutout position. But now the man coming back and got beat up.
Any of ye who've read Irish history will know that movements like ours have always been destroyed by paid spies and informers. And I want to set up an outfit that'll rectify that. Your job will be to wreck the system of information the castle uses against us. To make it unhealthy for them to run it.
How unhealthy?
What? We've sent letters of warning to every Xena. They're stupid enough to stay in the castle. And they'll be shot. And you'll have to do the shooting.
They say, oh, okay.
To be pleasant. Now, any of you with any qualms, there's the door. What?
Would we have got past the door?
Well, you would have, Vinny. Seriously, though, I won't force this on any man.
Okay, after you see this, if anybody want to confess, I'll play Father Steve and hear confession tonight. But you got to do penance. Won't be Our Fathers or Hail Marys. Watch him do a little sign of the cross and shit when he gets his courage up.
For these mornings, praying together. I can't pretend to understand your politics, but I can appreciate...
That's one of the members of the army that they eventually get out of jail, showing how he gets out while at the same time they're going through these fights with other guys. They are burning up their headquarters like conspiracy theory.
Stop, that's the best way to go. What'll be next? The knacker's yard?
Okay. I just went to Detroit this weekend, and every city I go into, I insist upon the people getting together on our off day. I pay a couple $100 to stay over in Detroit for Sunday.
take them on a tour of some of the symbolism in Detroit that is beast-related. I believe that when we talk about the lecture, it's important that people walk out and see the lecture in the street, because it is a living observation. Whatever we believe we saw in code, like Brother breaks a code, it's his show or tell in open sight. Once encoded, the unrecognized eye would never see it. We had in the building, in the hotel I was staying in, which is right on the lake next to Cobo Hall, right behind the hotel is a huge brown building called the Guardian. Huge brown building. I'm going to show you the brochure from the building. But the brick in the building, which is brown, you ever seen a skyscraper done in brick? Brick by brick? Skyscrapers are done in slabs. This is the tallest building in Detroit, second tallest building in Detroit, and it's in brown brick, meaning that every single layer was brick by brick. And it's called the Guardian Building, and it's the headquarters for MidCom, which is the major utility in Detroit. And in the lobby is a huge mural of the state of Michigan with this odd type of white object in the center like a god of some sort. But actually it was loaded with Satanism. I asked the people to meet me Sunday morning at my hotel, and from there we began to walk. And I wanted to make sure before that day was over we got to the Masonic Temple. And everybody was quick to remind me that it was Sunday and it was closed. But I said, when you're on the search for information, all that is locked will open, and there is no such thing as it won't open for you if you demand it to. And sure enough, when we got to the Masonic Temple in Detroit, right next to Cass Square, Cass is in the book, The Masons Who Helped Shape Our Nation. The city Cassopolis in Michigan is named after him. They even have Cass County up there. Interestingly enough, we get to the temple, we go around the back door before the front, because I always like to look where the garbage cans are. Just like the other Mason temples we've been to, they had the garbage can under lock and key. Their garbage cans are locked in. I mean, they ain't just, you just can't go in and read Masonic garbage. You gotta break the lock to get in. We're locked breakers. We ain't got no problem about that. But that wasn't our mission. Our mission was to set up our mission. I had gone this route before I went with them. Now I'm taking them. That my second route, third route, fourth route will be deep in action. So when we get to the Masonic Temple, there's a Mexican lady in a blue uniform, say Masonic Lodge. In Detroit, they got the Shriner Temple and the Mason Temple and another Mason Temple all together, the whole block. And in fact, George Clinton is playing in the Mason Temple June 26th. We think that'd be a good time while all the music, while they, in fact, I got to cut up here, while they doing, standing on the verge of getting it on. Let's get it on. We're going to be down in the basement getting it on. Now, knowing that I said some shit last Wednesday, and Tony Brown threw in the towel last Thursday, I know that the basement doors of the Mason Temple are probably going to be locked now. But that's all right, we might be going to the attic. You don't never know. When you know you got one on your hook, you can start turning it all kind of ways. Tell them you're going right when you're going left. Tell them you do it on Thursday when you meet on Monday. You just get the power over the enemy when you know they lean in real good. Now, we got to the temple. The Mexican lady comes out. She sees all these black people. You'll see them all on the tape. She said, what's up with y'all? It's Sunday. What are y'all doing? She said, we're out on a tour. This brother's here from another city teaching us about Detroit. Everybody laughed. So I asked her, I said, you a Mason? She said, I wouldn't join this shit. That's important. Next thing we know, we look up on the roof. The lady says, this is the largest meeting Masonic temple in the country. It has 1,001 rooms in it. And I said, oh, that's just some Arabian Nights shit. Yeah, that's some legend. She said, no. I said, oh, we don't believe it. You had to show me some thousand rooms. Get me to believe it. You got to show, at least show me a couple of hundred other rooms, you know. So the white man that was on the roof, he says, are you all right? Maria, are you all right? She said, oh, yeah, I'm okay. We just down here talking. So we stood around. She went back into her chair inside the temple. She sat down. I said, well, y'all, she had a long hallway where she sat at the beginning, this long hallway coming in the back door. He said, well, let's go in We went in, all went to the hallway. She said, what do you want? I said, I gotta use a bathroom. So where the bathroom's right down the hallway. And I said, I gotta use the bathroom. So that got us down the first corridor. So while they were down in the bathroom, people just thought, okay, I'm going bathroom right, I'm going bathroom left, I'm going bathroom up, I'm going bathroom down. We're now bathrooming in every direction. We asked the mason lady, said, well, look, we look around. She said, well, let me call the plumber down. That was the guy on the roof. Maybe he'll show you the little cathedral rooms we have. Sure enough, the other white guy comes down. We say, hey, you a mason? He said, I wouldn't join this shit. They always ask me to join. I ain't joining this. We said, good, why don't you take this ride? I said, I ain't doing shit. He said, give me a chance to turn the lights on. The motherfucker turned all the lights on. I guess I better hurry up and get that donation, huh?
No,
Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So he turns the lights on, and boy, what did he do that for? We waited outside an hour for the rest of the people to come out of the basements and the garages and the sub-basements. We asked him, how many floors down? He said 3 floors down. Well, we was 4 floors down before we come out of there. Anyway, you're going to see all that on the film. See us running around the temple and see us walking around looking at the stuff on the walls. But again, I remind you, if you're in Chicago, one of the things you want to do is to go to the Intercontinental Hotel and look at the stuff across the building. Go look at the Intercontinental Hotel. Go look at the Tribune building. Go look at the Ruskin saying in the middle of the Tribune building. I went back and looked at all these things the other day before I, in the next couple of weeks, put out a flyer and asked you to go on the tour of Chicago with me, where we go to the Masonic Temple down there on 9th and Dearborn, the Illinois Masonic Hospital, the Masonic Cathedral, right there behind Rush Street. We'll go to the Newberry Library, we'll go to the Intercontinental Hotel. We'll go into the King Arthur Room in the Intercontinental Hotel with Masonic shit drawn all over the ceiling in a masterful painting that Masons come in and worship every other day. We'll get around to the spots that I've never done a tour in Chicago, in my own hometown. I've done the tour on tape. I put it on tape for myself. I have it in my collection. I have about 30 cities on videotape, but we've gone to translate the symbolism. And I'm going to do it here within the next month, since I'll be here a little bit more often. But I want you to see a little bit of what it's like. Now, I'm going to walk around and collect the donation while this is on. It's a $7 donation. And if you want to donate $1,000, I'm going to put it on fast speed because I get to talking out front. Actually, I do tell them some things. I'm talking about when OJ had come to see me, what was going on. Tell me, when we start getting towards the building, I'm going to start letting it go. What's up with black people in Detroit? Just like black people in Chicago. Really, just regular African people. It was weird, though, even though we had packed houses all 3 nights, 90% of the people at the lecture were between the ages of 40 and 70. 90% of the people at the lecture were between 40 and 70. It was unusual to see a youth at the program during those 3 days, though there were some. These were older people. And as you can see, I ain't got but 10 tapes over there on the table because they ate me up. They bought everything I had. I ain't shit material up there. They bought it all. I don't know whose pen this is, but it slid out of somebody's pocket. All right. Anyway, as soon as we get to the first building, the Guardian building, and then when we get to the Guardian building, it's closed, but it's a sister in the lobby. We all get in the lobby. We say, sister, I come a long way to see the secrets in this building. She said, well, give me a minute, I'll turn the lights on. Don't go no further than the edge of that stairway up there. When I get everywhere we went, when we demanded to see those things because we want to know the beast prints, everybody we encountered were compelled to open those things up for us. And I tell black people, don't back down when you come to make change. Believe that you're destined to make it. When the door looks closed, beg for it to open. And if you really want it to, it will. Most people get to know, say, man, they ain't having no tourists today. So let's go away. Just because, those are tourists for the average people. Yeah, I'm coming. Here you go. Those are for the average people. All right, but we doing the extraordinary thing. Thank you, sir. All right, okay, y'all did it together there. Y'all got it on. I appreciate y'all. That thanks you. What you do? Oh, you got it, brother. I appreciate you. You won't be able to get home? All right. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Now, these people in Detroit were very efficient. By the end of the night, the videotapes went in hand. All right. Who was the 3? 1, 2, 3? Y'all 3 brothers there? Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. I am here now for a couple of days, so I will get the call relevant. Okay. I've been in Detroit for the last couple of days. I don't know if you know Sister Karen up in Detroit. There's the Black Magic Front.
Yes,
yes, good sister, really sweet. She's Stockholm. She's really sweet. She helped me out a lot. Karen's a very influential sister in Detroit because she makes them do things. She really does. Very character-filled, and I appreciate you, brother. Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, thank you. I appreciate you. I don't have one to sell. I only have the tape I brought to show what Onion Palmer does. But I'm leaving. This is my last lecture before I head home, so if we want to do something about that tape, I got the stuff with all the Onion Palmer stuff on it, so I always read out. Oh, thank you, huh? Which tape? And that, the Plot to Destroy Education. No, I don't have any more with me of that tape. Yeah, that's on the Plot to Destroy Education. I have the original copy of that tape. Somebody press play. That's at the bottom of the hotel, because the hotel is the Pontchartrain, and that's where they came up with the name of Detroit, or Detroit, Detroit. Now, I'm going to push this up to the Guardian building. It's a huge building called the Guardian building in Detroit. And I'm going to show you the brochure of the Guardian building. This is the Guardian building in Detroit. Huge building built brick by by brick. Brick by brick in Detroit. All single brick, just that small, all single brick, all the way up. Been there, done that. Brown building, and the bricks from the building that are brown, did you know where the bricks came from? The bricks came from Africa. They went to Africa and got them bricks, and the white man built, at that time, the tallest building in Detroit with bricks that came from Africa.
Cobalt, the latest.
Oh.
Cobalt Hall.
Yeah, which is right next to us, right here.
That's what I'm saying.
Uh-oh.
Cobalt, you can learn a whole lot.
We're at the fire department across from the hotel, and they got things like the Grecian Sphinx, see, the Boule logo. They got things like the Boule logo right on the wall, right there. Oh shit! Pause. Stop. You see that? Now these are all over Detroit. Out of the 10 buildings we looked at in downtown Detroit, 9 of them had Grecian sphinxes clearly on the building ledges, or guardian animals. Looks much similar to the Boule logo. This is at the fire department headquarters, which is right behind the Hotel Pontchartrain. That's very Masonic, those seashells, or clam shells, or baby pearl. Anyway, they got those clams always on the corners of the buildings. It says this about the Guardian building I thought was interesting. It said that the brick that they wanted to use to build the building, that brown brick, could only be found in Africa, but the mine had been closed 30 years. So what did Hunky do? Opened the mine up. Went in there and brought them bricks, brick by brick, to build that building. The Guardian building. And that's the lake. Of course, that's Canada right across the river there. But that's where they got gambling right in Windsor. This is Windsor, Canada. In fact, this shot of Detroit is from the Windsor, Canada side. Right. This shot is from the Detroit side looking across the Canada side, which is just not even a mile, half a mile, 3 blocks across the river. And right at the tunnel to go out of Detroit into Canada is a statue of George Washington on the square with his Masonic apron on, with his huge compass and square on his chest. Leaving Detroit to go to Canada, they give you the Masonic send-off. It's not Canada coming in, it's Detroit going out.
Is there significance in that? You're saying going from Detroit to Canada and not to Canada?
Yeah, I'm drawing significance to it. I don't quite understand it.
Okay.
But we know it's not on the other side coming in. It's on this side going out. Maybe some serious applicants in Detroit. Well, I said bring cameras and binoculars. Shit, everybody had 2, 3 things. He's a good brother here. When we got to the Masonic Temple, he tore ass. This brother here, this Cobo Hall right here. Detroit Red Wings were playing that afternoon.
In Chicago, Steve?
I'm sorry?
Are you ever going to lead a tour like
Yes,
that?
sister, I said before the month of June is over, I will have it. We'll put the flyer out. There's some key places to see here. I've never done the tour here. I've done it myself. I put it on tape, but now I need to do it for everybody. We need to really line it up. And I'm showing this one to kind of give you an idea of what a day like this is like. You know, there's some more Grecian sphinxes on the wall. Same building, fire building. And you see it's a hotel. So that's a hotel Pontchartrain. When my phones went dead, after I talked to Khallid,
Coincidence?
oh yeah. Okay. There we go. Now see, you see all the people coming at you, you know you're going to open the doors up. It's a Sunday afternoon, Detroit, shit is quiet. Ain't 10 people in all downtown Detroit. Now you see all these, now, those people you see walking there, we have people a block away in every direction to protect those who were doing the taping and the picture shoot. So we had people at each corner. So you stood in one block, you could see how people block ahead in every direction. Just to make sure there were no intruders. We had elders, we had handicapped, we had blind people. Blind people went on the damn tour because they wanted to be with other black people.
There's something they could see too.
Right, right. At different times when we mentioned certain things, they knew the history behind those things, so they couldn't see them. Very, and look, everybody felt really proud to have a role. One spot we need to get into, the handicapped dude said, put me up front. Shit, sure enough, that shit worked. Them double, they said, we can't get this door open. Shit, to get the handicapped in, they opened up all the doors, so. Don't say that shit won't work. Then we go on through downtown Detroit. All producing somewhere. That's like Council on Foreign Relations building looks like that in New York. With that level of motif. Now, I've never seen this tape, so I can't even edit it. So I'm just putting it on the first time I saw it. It's just Sunday, this last Sunday in Detroit. But I want to get us up to the Guardian building. Here we are at another building just 1 block away. We got all kind of weird stuff. 2-star Phoenix looking, Reaching Sphinx. See them? There they are again. Wings of the bird, the animal like the lion in the head, they're all across the ledge of the building. All over Detroit. Same principle. See it? All over. Yeah. Get it, cameraman? We on there good? Okay. Y'all understand the principle? Run that. Now, if you look at this carefully, you shit really look this shit. Look up around the top. Okay, I'm trying to do grease and sphinxes. Now, I ain't gonna tell you about all the rest, bunch of shit all over the building. Building's over with shit. They had their little symbols like what the New Orleans Saints used for the logo, Boy Scouts, which is the mark they put on the slaves when they came in the port of New Orleans. Buildings were just located with all kinds of stars and blue griffins and shit. All detailed buildings, just detailed to the bone, just in the middle of downtown, almost just a little restaurant. Now, it was a bank. But you can see they're all cleaning up all the motif around Detroit, which we were intrigued by too. Just like Chicago the other day. I got back here on Monday, I went down on Michigan Avenue. And there they were fixing all of the Templar top buildings in downtown Chicago were all having their Templar tops being repaired. Very interesting. Cleaning themselves up. That's Congress Street like they got here. They got Congress there. Just Congress here is 1 block from Michigan Avenue or the lake. Congress there is 1 block from the lake. You know, you Lakeshore Drive, Congress, there, I forget what they call that main street there on Cobo Hall, I forget what that main street is called. Next street over, Congress. Probably just a coincidence.
Have you done Atlanta?
Yes, I've done Atlanta with just my personal friends. We did the Masonic Temple there, the Scottish Rite. We did the Dome, the Capitol Building, got Masonic stuff all over.
Because when I was in Atlanta down on Martin Luther King Avenue, I guess, Boulevard, I think at James Pearson, at the intersection, there's like this design in the street. I didn't get a good shot of it.
Oh, big guy.
But there was like a way to get the bricks laid out.
Must be something, must mean something. We noticed how some buildings were Masonically insignificant. I mean, they had nothing on it. Not even an indention in the building. Sometimes when you're shooting these things, the goal is to shoot everything you can. Don't shoot what you think you already understand, because it isn't until later sometimes when we look at this and look at this and look at this, do some of the true meanings of these things begin to come radiating through. Now we're off walk to the Guardian building, it gets ready to start raining. The rain starts dribbling down. Right before we went on the tour, I mean, it rained. It was so dark, you couldn't see across the street. Right when the time for the tour came, it cleared up. Go around 2 buildings, starts getting dark, the rain pours down so heavy. That's what let us get to stay up in the Guardian building a little longer. Now this is the Buell building, right across from the Guardian building. Right here. We'll see it's all over that building too. All on the inner alcove. There they are. And then you can see it from like we got a ram, a base. Looks like they all use the same kind of model. What's that? Some man on the sea or something?
What's those animals?
No, I said, what is it, a man of the sea? You know, sometimes they got that nebulous or somebody, Neptune.
Neptune.
Or somebody, because it looks like sea motif around Okay, here comes the Guardian building. Now, again, this is the building they built brick by brick. I want you, if you get to see this carefully, these are all individual bricks, all the way up to the top. All around. Look at Alco, looks like the Board of Trade building.
What's the address, though?
I'm sorry?
The address.
Of what?
Guardian building.
Here, let me pass you down the brochures.
What's inside the Guardian building?
You're going in there when you can, so you're going to see it. Over here. Oh, okay, okay. We're like, what is the Guardian building guard? Utility company is headquartered, but it was a bank. That's the motif on the inside. I said, boy, we lucky. I said, look, when we get to the door, there's a security guard in there. When we get in the door, I want everybody to stand close. I mean, everybody come together. So when these doors open up and I go through this, I want everybody to come behind me and don't y'all stop till everyone's in the hallway. So boom, I hit the door, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. another building just like it down the street. Okay, here we go. Everybody get in here so we can go in here together. We cannot go until we all go at the same time. Saying, get your asses up here, shit. And we go in here, don't stop till everybody's in there. Boom, boom, everybody follow in. It's the inside. Founding on the principles of faith and understanding, the building erected for the purpose of maintenance and continuing the ideas of financial service, which prompted the organization of this institution. And it's got a little pyramid. Banking is fraternity. Money is fraternity. Excuse me. Steve is spit. That's something. This thing is beautiful. Motif colors. Now here's the mural way down the other end of the Great Hall. They call it the Great Hall. Now the building is closed. You cannot pick up the awesome nature that's inside of this rotunda. Now these people have been living here in Detroit 50 years, ain't been there. I'm telling them now how much better it looked the day before with the lights on. So I said, hold on, I'll turn them on for you. Sister security guard. Detroit is one of the few major cities that maintain its black voter base. Detroit is 70% black. One of the few cities that maintain its heavily black base. It didn't go Hispanic and it didn't move to the suburbs. Ain't a whole lot of Mexicans in Detroit either. Those little jobs, hotels are all black, everything all black. Michigan, gas and solid gas. Now for Detroit with this symbol in the center, loaded with Satanism shit around it. It's called the Great Wall. I know some cameras got a little. That's the Great Lakes with the state of Michigan in the middle. Now that symbol, which is the logo of the state of Michigan, is just like the logo for the Masonic Temple in South Africa. Them two deer-looking things with their hind legs up. Now here's the sister security guard. She's down there saying, yeah, she's now just turned the lights on for us. And now y'all come up to the stairway now. Y'all come up here a little closer. Picking up what's on the, oh, I better do it. There we go. Oh, shit, listen. Now we got 4 camera shots of this. This is the brother who just produced something so that I can bring it back and show you. Okay, now I'm going to zoom this up. I think we pull out of here, but we go to leave, but it's raining too hard. As soon as we get out the door, the rain's coming down too hard. Now, right in the center of, this is similar to the way the Tribune building is. Right in the center of the floor of the Tribune building is this saying from John Ruskin. Never mind how we took the world, Just remember our children will thank us for having done it. Don't worry about what we did to take it. Yes, sister. Oh, she said your head is large. I'm just kidding.
You're not kidding at all.
Right. Say your head is large even though you wear a medium. And I'm putting a film together. I've gotten these from so many cities that together I have a video that our community has never had this type of information available. There's a brother Matthew in LA who does this type of thing, and that's why Quincy does it too, measuring buildings and so forth and things inside. But my job is to really try to find the things that the average person has underlooked, though seen, familiar with, sort of, but not really, so that we can make a greater curiosity about looking at these things wherever they go, because the more they learn, the more they teach me, the more I learn, the more I teach you. It becomes reciprocal, excuse me, sir. Okay, now we go to leave and it's raining. I mean, just coming down. Just for that time that we was up in the temple, up in that room, it just started pouring down. And also another key spot to go here in Chicago is the Chicago Historical Society, because in it is a lot of Masonic things that are listed there. Though they say, we found this, the white man gave this to the Indian to get access to this river. What the symbol means is unknown. It's the Masonic symbol with the cross-like, with a little bar, and a bigger bar, and a little bar. So we don't know what this means. But of course, we know what it means, but there's a lot of things in there to see, and probably as that tour worked from downtown, the lower loop, with the owls on the Harold Washington building, on up to the buildings across the loop, the Union League Club, the Economic Club, the Chicago Club, all of them got huge Masonic stuff all over it. If you know you're on Michigan Avenue at night, you look back, you'll see that one building with that temple on top or pyramid top with the blue light on it.
The White Castle?
Yeah, that's very significant. The One Financial Plaza building looks like a Knights of Templar building, which is a newer building on the other side by the stock market. Very important building to look at. And then on your way up, Michigan Avenue, State Street, Wabash, the things just loaded all over those older buildings. You just got to lean back and look at them. They're pretty loaded. And then on up Michigan, to make sure you cross where the George Washington statue is, right there on Wacker. Right. Got to look carefully at the George Washington statue. Then you come up on up that level of the bridge where the sayings are on the corners of the bridges. This lady here was unique because I don't care what I talk to people. If I said it was like this, she said, well, maybe this looks like this because of that. When I said this, she said, well, maybe it's just that way because of that. Now, then I just made some shit up, and she said, well, maybe it's this way because of that. And I said, see, you got explanations for shit that don't even exist. And I fronted it to everybody.
Wherever the American flag flew, slavery was supposed to flourish.
She made some crazy comment. Especially when you look at shit in hindsight, you can hear some shit too, you know.
And let us not forget about manifest destiny. Wherever the American flag flew, slavery was supposed to flourish.
She was telling us some crazy shit. But unless you get out there, they can't come out there with you. Unless you get to the bottom of something, they can't try to get you off of the bottom of something. So you need action to force reaction. And so that's very important. In fact, I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to push it up. I do want to at least take you to the Masonic Temple. FX, what do you think of that cable show we did today?
That's one of the best shows we've done in a while. Well, probably ever. Okay.
And when do you think we might get it on the air?
July.
So I'm putting pressure on this little public, pressurizing. What's this? What month was this?
Can we get a copy of it?
Huh?
Can we get a copy of it?
When it runs off the cable, you can copy it all you want. It's just 30 minutes. You want it now?
July.
You want it now? Okay, you give me your name and number?
Yeah.
Okay. That don't mean I'm going to get it to you, but at least I don't have your name and number. I want to know who want to see it before it go on. Huh? You want to see Crossfire?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to cross your fire. No, I ain't going to hold everybody here all night, man. I know everybody look at us, man. What point is it in, man?
He said he's gonna show Crossfire, man.
You want to see Crossfire?
Yeah,
See
I'll
Crossfire.
sell me a tape, one of them.
What, sell you the tape and you see the Crossfire, right?
Let's see it.
How's that? Actually, I don't have the, when I come back here, now remember, I'm going to be back here next week. So y'all will be tired of seeing me.
No, it's all
Hey,
right.
Marcus, let's
Come on
see,
back.
what we doing the next Friday, right?
Right, 7 o'clock.
Friday, not next Wednesday, but next Friday night. Man, you know what, man, that's fucked up, though, man. That's the same. I'm tired of letting
No, we
people
can't do it.
all
No,
night.
we can't do it next Friday.
Right.
That's gonna be the,
I'm tired of lecturing on Bulls game nights.
no,
What do you say?
can't do it next Friday.
Okay. And what you got next Saturday?
No, I'm gonna be out of town.
Okay. But all you gotta do is give me the key for hours closed though, man.
I get you now.
Oh, well, Don, how you gonna get in tomorrow?
I don't need that. I give you the key now.
Get the fuck shit up. Now. Now. Look at it. What you talking about? Say, Steve, what you talking about?
Yeah, next week, but the week after that is straight.
Wow. That's too many weeks.
Week of the 19th is cool though.
About Juneteenth?
Okay, what is 19? What is the day of the 19th?
Friday.
Friday.
Is that a big program on that day?
They have some
Yeah,
social fuel.
yeah.
Oh, that's a Black Expo thing.
Well, not like that, but supposed to be a $1 million march thing with W.L. Love and all of that. Supposed to be there.
So that means that they walking you into the Black Expo, though. See, the Black Expo is right. See, you get these niggas. These niggas ain't just walking to be walking. They walking you into their other thing, $20 a head. Walking you into the, oh, it's Black Expo, right here in Sodersfield. They got niggas flying. Now, this is the brother in Detroit. He's a good brother, Brother Malik. He's heading the New Marcus Garvey movement. You'll see him here for a second. He's a brother I'm going to get down here. He's been closing crack houses and doing things up in Detroit. He's getting very powerful. He's coming on real strong. The people in Detroit hate him. He's Archer's #1 attacker. He's a very good brother. He's very thorough. And again, when I gave that lecture, the majority of the people in there were from 40 to 70. And he's a young man, and they've come to back him up. You can look at the people on the tour. You don't see many kids out here. And I want to see if I can, this is good sister here, real, something weird happened. I was standing in front of the table. You know, I keep my little thing down here like this. I hate to say this is awful, but it's some shit you got to be prepared to deal with. We're getting ready to break for intermission. I'm waiting for the brother to introduce me. On the second night in Detroit, we had coffee and cream, and I'm standing in the doorway waiting to go on. Everybody's in the doorway, and the table was right there, signed in. And a sister just walks up to me and grabs his hand, starts pulling on it, and hollers out loud, if that was your, I'd do you right here. And everybody was like, sitting there and went, and I was like, I had my back turned. I was looking like this. I mean, like, and now, I'm telling you, everybody in the program were elders, and they went, and the sister went right on out the door and never came back. Just went right on out the door. I went.
Close encounter of a weird kind.
Hey, you know. Looking at all these eyes. That looks like New York City Hall has this eye type of top on it. Uh-oh.
Brother Cooper don't want me to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway.
This is the brother here, Brother Shabbat, Brother Malik. He's really a good man. He's a good man. You'll hear a lot more from him down here, because we're going to be getting him down here. He's a very valuable brother. There's really some good people emerging in the various cities to compensate for unmet demands for justice. And Karen helped us out a lot. She even helped their group, you know.
Okay.
And another interesting thing was when during the lecture they asked about 8 different groups in Detroit. Asked who was here from that group. Every group had 5 to 8 people in the program. People, told about 200 people a night. And they said Nation of Islam. About it. So an elder stood up and said, well, I'm in the Nation. Well, she, you know, she was in everything. She stood up for every group. That's one reason they called me had no vocal election. Even though they need the education. And since ain't nobody in there teaching them the information, you know, we want to have our organization stop believing that the less a member knows, the more effective they are. That's not true. Okay, now from here we get in our cars. We get in our cars and we go to the Mason Temple. And again, I ain't gonna belabor this with you all evening. I will line up that other thing you want to see.
Crossfire. What's on the crossfire tape? Since everybody listening for you to see it. What do you mean now?
Yeah, right.
What's on the crossfire?
All over it. Now we're walking back to the cars actually to go to the Masonic Temple, which is maybe about 8 blocks away, and we had so many elders. Just had an interesting thing going across. That's not on fast speed. Again, when you're doing these things, you do them the best you can. There's another building we went in, had some interesting stuff in the floor. All the buildings have important motifs in the center of the floor. What it means, we don't always know. This is one of the court buildings in Detroit.
That's where people first come. So I guess that's a symbol to let them know as soon as they come to the door. You know what time.
Right, it's like an emblem or a description of the owners. Any comments or questions? Like I say, I ain't gonna be busting y'all tonight.
I got a comment.
Yes, sir.
You know, in fortifying what you said about when you're doing the right thing, that the forces are with you. You know, remember I was going through that thing with the...
In fact, why don't you come on up here a second, brother? I meant to do this. This brother is in a battle with the school system over having used the secret relationship in his curriculum, in his class. He's in the previous issue, not the current issue, but earlier issue in May's Final Call, where he was being attacked for having used the... Where's the article? Because I want to show him the article. Yes, let's show him what it is.
Having used what?
Use secret relationships with blacks and Jews. I think now we're at the Masonic Temple. All the logos running across. Where's Yeti with this car? Yeah, that's 9/11. That's also 19. Marcus, this look familiar? This look familiar? Got a bundle of sticks, which is important Masonic logo. The moon, Satan or Natus, the all-seeing eye with the radiating sun. Come on, brother. I want to make sure we do this. This brother is listed in the May 12th, 98 issue of the Final Call. Teacher reprimanded for using controversial text. When students learned that Mr. Greer was reprimanded, they wrote at least 2 petitions to defend him. This is a brother who's being attacked for trying to teach clarity to his classroom about how to own and control things that work against African people. What's up, Sister Plummer? What's that smell? It smell like nail polish or something?
Candy. You hungry, Steve?
No, that ain't that.
Uh-oh.
It smells more like paint or varnish. Okay. Says a black male history teacher at Gale Elementary prides himself on getting students to think and ask questions. But the truthful answer Milton Greer got him reprimanded, silenced, and possibly terminated due to pressure by a majority of the Jewish faculty. See, at his school, he teaches black children the truth. White people of the Jewish religion attack him. Brother Greer, why don't you come on in and tell us a little bit about what's happening with you, and tell us, is there anything and what we can do to support you?
Well, what happened was,
That you had to step on in there.
They asked me to come. I was asked to teach the middle passage. This was way back in January, and I even had talked to Marcus about it too, because I told him this was going to happen before it happened, and lo and behold, it did. And when I was asked to teach the middle passage, I think they just wanted me to teach the regular little vague little middle passage, you know. But I taught it pretty extensive. And I always try to get the kids to be able to apply one set of ideas and concepts to another independently. Because to me, this is true education and not just being programmed. So I was pretty impressed when the kids did come back and ask me, well, who owned the slave shipping companies? And later on, I was approached by some of the Jewish staff, and they said, why didn't you just tell the kids that white people own the slave shipping companies? And I said, well, that's not what I was asked. I said, as a matter of fact, I don't refer to, no, they said, why didn't you just tell the kids that white people own the slaves? And I said, well, I don't refer to my ancestors as the slaves. I refer to them as kidnapped Africans, because it's detrimental. And I can remember when I was a kid in school, and when I first learned that concept of slavery, and I was told that I was an ex-slave and all of that, you know, it had a bad effect on me. That was right around in the 60s when this book came out, Color Me Brown. And I was really upset with it, so I made it my business never to refer to our ancestors as slaves, but to refer to them as what they were, kidnapped Africans, men, women, and children. So, and it has an effect on the kids when you tell them that, because their mind starts clicking in the realms of understanding that they were kidnapped people, they weren't slaves. So, like I told her, you know, that wasn't the question that was asked, and that wasn't the lesson that was taught. And I was hated. Black people that worked with me stopped talking to me, didn't want to be seen with me. There was only one brother, Mr. Kent, that really stood beside me, you know. And the rest of them just was like, you know, I'll talk to you later on. I'll call you at home. But in other words, don't be seen with me now. And, you know, people knew that what I did was right, and they knew that what was happening to me was unfair. But what happened is a lot of the kids that got together, and they started a petition. And they, you know, they was moving. That's why people have said that this revolution will have to include young people, because we've been too conditioned. Right? These young people were going on with it. They were moving with it, you know. And what happened when they told me we're going, you know, she told me in so many words, you don't fit in here, okay? And I'm going to find a way to get rid of you.
Which means we're here messing these children's brains up. Who do you think you are, teaching them something?
Right. So I left the job, you know, I just took me a week off and started writing letters, wrote Chico and Vallis and a few other people.
And Gary Chico, I know him from being at De La Salle High School. Used to be the patronage man with Ed Burke.
Yeah. Well,
the finance committee.
I sent about a 11-page report to Chico and Vallis, and when I went down to the delivery.
May I interrupt you to ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you really think that Paul Vallis was going to be receptive to what you were teaching the truth?
Oh, no, Nahas. No. What I was doing was I was trying to put certain people on alert so that they can't run and hide, act like they didn't know what was going down when the hammer started swinging. Okay, in other words, I knew that they weren't going to do anything, but I wanted to put them on alert so that they can be involved into the, when she...
That's why they have Hammond and the other black brother, what's his name, can't think of his name.
Right, I wasn't expecting any help from them.
They are on guard for Dallas, because Dallas' job is to get rid of you and all people like you.
Right. They're doing it under the guise of, I don't know if a lot of people in here are aware of it, but I just wrote 2 articles, and Marcus can give them to me, and I can help share that too. But they're doing it under the guise of racial balance. And that sounds good to the ear when you first hear it, but what they're doing is they're saying that all of the schools on the south side, on the west side, you know, the staff is primarily black, and what they're doing now is they're getting rid of the black teachers and bringing in white teachers. But then if you go to the north side, where the schools are predominantly white, they're in non-compliance and nothing is being done to make them comply with this new policy. Whereas on the south side, it's being strongly and strictly enforced. What that results in is that if you say if you're a white person and you're just coming out of school, okay, with 1 degree, maybe a bachelor's degree, okay, and then you could be a black person in comparison with 10, 20 years experience and 4 or 5 degrees, but they'll have to hire that white person before you, because that white person, because of the racial balance, okay? And what's happening is that whites can go to the south side, the west side, the racially non-compliant north side, the surrounding vanilla suburbs, and they have all the avenues open to them, whereas a lot of the blacks right now, a lot of black teachers are fighting over day-to-day substitute positions in the sub pool. And it's happening right up under our eyes, and a lot of people aren't seeing it, or no one is doing anything about it. You know, so I wrote up a couple of articles to try to get the word out so that people can become more aware of it, because the only way to combat it is to bring it out in the open. I think once it's brought out in the open, a lot of this will stop. In fact, to get it going, Daley had to, he had to go down to Springfield. I don't know if you remember a while back when Daley went down to Springfield and met with Edgar, and then he got some of the rules changed for the Chicago Board of Ed and came back. Well, that was one of them. That was one of them, because he couldn't do it until, that thing about the 5x5 buyout, that's what that's about too. Getting rid of those strong blacks that know what's going on, get them on, shuffle them on out the door, so that when they pull this stuff out, that there's nobody around that can really oppose them, that know what the deal is. Then to go down to Springfield and rewrite the rules so that they can do it without any opposition from the state. But then what happened with this situation, afterwards, I'm under investigation now.
What's the investigator's name?
The investigator's name is...
See, we need to know that we named him.
His name is Rick Rivera. He's an investigator for the Office of Investigations. He had a Chicago police badge on him, and you know, he brought my book back, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. They finally gave
somebody had took it from you?
Yeah, they had took my book. They gave it back. And
describe how they took it from you.
Well, she came to me and she said, I want to see your proof that Jewish people were involved in the slave trade. And so I showed her my book. And then she said, I'll give it back, you know, tomorrow. But then that next day she didn't give it back, and she held on to it for about 2 months. And when I did get it back, I got it back from this investigator. Then they went through my room, my cum cards were stolen. Cum cards, cumulative records for the students. They were stolen at a crucial time when grades and stuff was up. My cum cards were stolen. My lesson plan book was stolen. My VCR for my class to show documentaries and stuff, it was stolen. I was called in, and I was constantly bombarded with being imposed on writing these different reports about I want to know everything you taught concerning Jews. So I had to write, and that took up my whole weekend. Then I had, I want to know everything that you taught in relation to scope and sequence. When you were out of sequence, okay, and I had to defend myself on why I went out of sequence, you know, with some of my lessons. So it's just harassment. All of a sudden, like if students do not do their work, I make them stand. All of a sudden, that's cruel and unusual punishment. I've been doing it. Why did all of a sudden did it become cruel and unusual punishment? Then if a student is disruptive, I'll take their gym. All of a sudden, it's illegal to take the kids' gym. Did you know it's illegal? Okay, you could be arrested for that. Okay, well, I have a police officer that's investigating me.
Show me the policy.
So I'm supposed to still be up under investigation. I don't know where it's going to go. I had a history fair. I put it all on video. When the assistant principal, she's been behind me. She's black, and they've been harassing her for standing behind me. And she had wrote up the thing for the history fair. She put my name on it, gave credit to me, because when this principal had asked that the history fair be done, nobody wanted to do it because the Jewish people there, they feel like, well, you know, we just want to, they're like working retired at the expense of our children. And, you know, I had went and met with, I think I went to Conrad Worrell, and I was talking to him, and he had said, well, brother, I wish you luck with your problem.
Oh, what did he say?
He said, I wish you luck with your problem. And I told him, I said, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's a part of the problem. Because in 1972, I was on a bus on my way to CVS High School, and people got on the bus talking about this dude that killed somebody playing penny pool at Hearst. And I didn't think much of it. You know, I was about 14. But then, 14 years later, that dude is the one that killed my brother. Oh. Okay? So, you know, like a lot of times we look at this and we say, well, it's not affecting me, it's not really me, that's somebody else. But down the road, you don't know how it's going to go play around. So I was trying to make him understand that these Jews that are retired at our children's expense, and they're collecting all of this money, you know, that down the road, those kids that they miseducate and they take on the street life and drugs and guns and stuff, when they go out here, they're not going to live around these Jews. They're going to be living around us. And when they commit their crimes, because they've been miseducated, they're going to commit their crimes on us. So, you know, like the brother said, I wish you luck with your problem. That's not only my problem. That's all of our problems.
That's right, brother. That's
you
right.
know, that's the way that I look at it.
In other words, he's saying, better you than me.
No, I don't think he was even looking at it from that viewpoint. I think that he was just ill-informed enough to not realize that it incorporates him as well.
You know,
or maybe that's how you get to be a leader.
You know, it's funny, the stuff that you're going through is reminiscent of a movie called Fahrenheit 451.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Check out the original movie, and they're remaking the movie with Mel Gibson.
So when I want to say this, so when I was under the gun and I was asked to provide all of this proof and stuff, when she had took my book and wouldn't give it back, I was kind of like crippled. Right. So I had talked to Torrey Muhammad. He the one that wrote the article, and he let me use his book, and I was pulling the stuff from the footnotes, and I went to the Jewish library downtown, the Spartus Library.
Yes, Spartus, yeah.
Yeah, I went down there, and you know, just give me some credit to what you were saying. That day, man, when I walked into the, it was my first time ever being at that library, but the people greeted me, and I thought I was the Jewish king or something. You know? And they walked me all around and showed me around. You know, that's the forces, you know.
Right, the forces.
And then they took me in, and we went to the 9th floor. Well, I mean, the librarian, he went and pulled everything for me. Then he told me to go up to 9, and he told me who to talk to. I went up to 9, and then on the 9th floor, they had this room full of Jewish books. And that day, he told me, oh, we're giving all of these books away. Oh, you know, and I said, you are? You know, and I had just went and checked out some of those books at the Harold Washington Library, And, you know, there were some of the ones that I had checked out that were in the stack. I took about 200 books with me.
Oh, shit.
Okay, there were at least about 3,000 more books there. I took books until I was tired of taking them. So when I went over to the Nation of Islam, and they were having a meeting that night. In fact, it was that same day that I had left from Sperder's Jewish library. I went over to the Nation of Islam, and I let the Amin and what's the guy that's over the MUI? Ishmael.
FOI?
No, local minister, that's it.
Yeah, Ishmael, right. Ishmael and somebody else I talked to over there, and I let them know that they can go down there and get these books free, okay? Because I'm letting everybody else know. Yeah, where this is on the 9th floor at the Sperder's Library.
Right down the street from the John Johnson building.
Oh, yeah, I know where it is. I know where it is. Okay.
Right next to Columbia College. Right next to Columbia College.
What
on the
time?
9th floor.
What time?
I don't know. I would just say, I know you can't go in there after 6:30 because at 6:30 this lady starts her class.
But in the daytime,
they have their books. Yeah, you can go in there and get all the books you want.
Who got a truck?
Free. Okay. So, you know, and then, you know, it just kind of really blew me away because it was as if they didn't know, because I was there to kick ass. I wasn't there to impress them. And I mean, there were some blacks walking around in there that seemed like they're delusional, that are in there going to school. One lady told me she was going to school to be for Jewish theology, and I really think she was trying to impress me with what she was telling me. I thought she was out of her mind. And then some other people in there, you know, they were coming to me, talking to me. They were very, very, very friendly, you know, but I don't think that they knew that I was there to kick them in the ass, you know. But I just want to let everybody know that a lot of these materials is there because these materials are the same books that was used to produce the book, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. So, as far as this thing is concerned, you know, just to be aware of what's going on, to be aware that our children's education, because in the book that they gave me, or the history books that they assigned to my class, there was nothing in there concerning the Middle Passage. Now, I know the Middle Passage happened because we're here, you know, but there was nothing in the book to reflect it. And I had to go out and buy books on my own, you know, to use to teach that to the children. And I think that there's a history department at the Chicago Board of Ed. If people can unite together with me, we can go to the history department at the Chicago Board of Ed and demand, you know, I can't do it by myself, but if enough of us do it together, we can demand that books are chosen to teach our children that will be more in accord with the truth. And right now, there's so much truth that is eliminated. And my kids graduated yesterday. I took the day off because I didn't feel like going to work, you know. The scores went from 4.9, 5.3s to 8.8s, 10.4s, 11.8, all above level. All of my students were above level. And I know the reason why is because they were interested in what I was saying.
That's right.
When you go into kids are not dumb. When you go into a classroom and you're telling them a whole lot of bullshit and a lot of lies, they're not going to be interested. You're not going to hold their interest, their attention, and they're going to actually outright resent you for coming to them with a bunch of bullshit. And they know when it's bullshit. When you're telling the truth, everything is going to fit into a puzzle. It's going to just come together and mesh. That's the way truth is. It's just going to fall in place. And it will fall in, you don't even have to do anything to make it fall in place. It's going to fall in place by itself because it's truth. They'll go somewhere else and hear something that'll fortify what you said. It'll just start coming because it's truth. But when you're trying to go in there and tell them a lie or half of the truth, then you're going to miss them. And I know that that's the reason why those scores soared.
I wanted to ask you this, Rick Rivera. He's a regular Chicago police investigator?
He's an investigator through the Chicago Police Department that's assigned to the Chicago Board of Ed. They have a division through the Chicago Police Department that is assigned to the Board of Ed.
To interrogate teachers on what they teach?
No, he came to me and he asked me, he said, well, did you plan to teach this? I said, no, I didn't plan to teach it, you know. But I am a history teacher and I am employed here to teach it, but no, I didn't plan to teach it. I was ordered to teach it by the assistant principal. We were getting ready to take the kids to see Amistad the play, opera play downtown. And in preparation for taking the kids to see Amistad opera, she asked me to teach the middle passage and the Amistad case so that the kids would be familiar with the data so that they can understand opera. So when I did that, it was for that reason. But when he came to me, he wanted to know why did I teach it. You know, he said, well, the principal said you were just asked to teach Amistad. I said, no, I was asked to teach middle passage and Amistad, and plus that Amistad is a part of the middle passage.
I can appreciate that, but the police, they have something to do with
okay, well then what the police asked, he said, well, how did it come about that you told the students that the Jewish people own the slave ship company? I said, a student raised his hand. He said, which student? Now, I had talked to this student's mother, and I wasn't going to tell him which student. I knew exactly.
Are police supposed to be used in that manner?
I don't know if they're using them in that manner on me.
We say his name again?
The police are supposed to do whatever white power tells them to do.
Yeah, but our taxes pay their salary. We have a right to protest that.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a right to protest anything you want, but understand that white folks with power and money dictate what the police do. And they do exactly what white power and money tell them to do.
And able to enforce it.
And able to enforce it. One is legal to you or not.
I believe it's power, I'll let you know that, but still, if we have a point, and they're using the police illegally, we can protest that on the point.
Let me take you a little quick. I made a talk to you was there at Simeon High School. You understand?
Mr. Butler. They got rid of Mr. Butler. What happened to Mr. Butler?
I wish I knew that. But anyway, he's the one who invited me there.
Right, I know him. I used to teach over there.
I made a talk. The kids there begged me to come back. You know, just really wanted me to be there and what have you. I have never been back, of course, you know that already. But the point I'm making is that we've got to quit thinking that what you read and think is correct is what white people would do. White people would do to black folks anything they want to do, anytime they want to do it. And the only way you're going to change that is that you buy into this kind of thing to the point where that you can have the power to dictate to them. And along with that power, you have to have the resources. You understand? It's nice, and he's recounting something here. Most people in this room probably don't know that I taught at Dunbar 40 years ago. And I can tell you the exact same story that he tell me, and that's 40 years old. Now he comes in 1998, and it's the exact same story, and hasn't changed one sentence or one comma or one dot. You understand? And that's 40 years. And the reason is because we got too many black people who make stupid statements like, well, see, I don't want my kids going to no school where it's all black. I want them to have a white teacher. I like white people. I don't want you to really be against them.
We don't feel like that in here.
True, but what I'm saying is in here has got to somehow translate itself out into the community. And that's why I'm saying that each one of the people who come to Steve's lectures have to be a committee of one to say the same thing. You know, he's teaching in a school with our just 40 or 50 teachers.
But the thing is,
committee of one.
but marching, all it's going to do is get your feet tired.
I'm not going to march, believe me. I don't believe in marching. But I want to know about this policeman that's stepping outside the scope of
Call on his name and phone number.
Well, one of the things that he told me, he said, then he pulled out a copy of my exam. Okay, now they went, in order for him to have that exam,
Now, do you know what department, where he works out in?
I'm talking about that in just 1 minute.
Yeah, we need you to tell us, this is my last.
We
need you to tell us what you want us to do.
Right. For him to pull out that exam, they had to search our room. Okay, and he pulled out the exam and he said, well, you talk to kids and you acknowledge on your exam that where they can verify this information is in the secret relationships between blacks and Jews. Okay, so that's what he was coming down on me about, you know, using that book and for saying that about the Jewish people owning the slave shipping company. So I don't know what's happening with that investigation right now. That's the last I heard of it. The secret relationship book produced by the Nation of Islam called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, and it breaks down and shows a lot of documented proof using a lot of Jewish documentation that Jews did own disproportionately most of the slave shipping companies that brought us from Africa and so on.
That's right.
You get it at Underground Bookstore or Nation's Bookstore.
And while you're at it, you might want to check on why Jews have so much power.
Yeah, they passed the law down there.
You got a card. You got to bring up a card.
I'm asking him to call it out.
Would you show the man the card from the police?
Okay, he just said, mentioned something that